everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, October the 12th, race number 8 at Keeneland. Let's take a look at this nice field. We're sprinting. It's a second level allowance with a $125,000 claiming option. 3-year-old Billy's in here, Mike, and the 7-little prankster. Even money on the morning line after 2 big fig victories at Saratoga. Was it the Spa? Was it Blinkers? Was it both?
That's an interesting question, I guess, Dan. This is, boy, this is a tough call here. This might be one of those very short prices on the morning line that you want to be very, very wary of. Little Prankster's last 2 races are good. The first of those, an off-turf race where she's entered main track only and just dominates a bunch of grass horses. And then the last one on an intensely speed-favoring track at Saratoga where she gets to the front and barely holds on. Maybe she wins here, Dan. I'll be betting somebody else.
She likes to be close to the pace. Timeform US thinks there'll be others close, and they think the pace will be fast. Miss Arlington's a quick horse. She's down towards the inside and is expected to show some speed. The 8 Black Forest has been on the lead at the pace call in her last 4 starts. Philly Crystal was a pace-pressing winner of her career debut. Even on Becca's pretty fast, Mike. That being said, I'm not sure Little Prankster will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th after the opening quarter.
Yeah, not sure about that either. I think she'll be closer than that. I do think this pace has a chance to get pretty heated, though. So we'll see how that all plays out. There are plenty of candidates to go forward early in this race.
If there is a meltdown, keep an eye on the number 2, Magical Loot. Note the LP flag over her number 2, Chicklet. That indicates she has the fastest late pace rating from Timeform US. Let's start things off with Miss Arlington. The expected speed of the speed from the inside. A winner at Ellis Park 2 starts back when able to get the lead. She didn't get to the front last time out. Pushed a fast pace, tired. She's solid. Her buyer speed figures are solid. But if she has to go fast early and face pressure, she could be in for a long afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see how the trip works out for her from the rail because, drawing there, she's just going to have to go early in this race. And then it's all just about what you think, I guess, of her last 2 races, Dad, because prior to that, I don't think anybody would really give her much of a chance in this race based on those running lines. But the last 2, they're both pretty good. The first of those, loose on the lead at Ellis Park, where speed was usually in favor over the summer. Last time, though, that pace was faster. She was no match at the end. But I would just argue that the 1-2 finishers of that race, they're way better than anything that she's going to be facing in this field.
Magical Loot, the number 2, finished behind Miss Arlington last time out at Churchill Downs. She broke a beat slow from the inside post and just couldn't make up the needed ground. It is worth noting that one of her career highlights was her maiden win at Keeneland, a sprint race where she fell off of a solid pace and came with a run. Maybe that'll replicate itself, that situation here.
I could easily see her bouncing back. She was disappointing last time, but prior to that, it just felt like she was getting better with every single start. We already looked at the pace projector. This race could really set up for her. She's going to be pretty far out of it early, but she will run late, and she's a fair price on the morning line.
The number 3, Wilma Mankiller's the most prolific winner in this field. She has already won 5 times. She's including her last 2 at Hawthorne. Now, I'm a little bit skeptical of the company at Hawthorne, but Wilma Mankiller sat in behind, eases out for the stretch drive, gets it done. She was able to stay close to a slow pace. She has earned solid buyer speed figures in her last 2. Just something tells me the waters get deeper here.
I think this will be tougher for her, but she's one of those horses. I don't think 4 to 1's the right price to take on her, Dan, but she's a little bit of a wild card in here. She's won 4 of her last 5 on dirt for Larry Ravelli, and the only loss there, Black Forest, who's also in here, beat her. But this horse had a big excuse that day. That trip did not work out. She was beaten to the lead that day, and they race rode her, and she lost all kinds of position around the turn and just had no chance of this stretch. She's actually in good form right now.
Returning off a bit of a layoff is the 4 Aunt Becca for the exceptional Cherie DeVoe. A winner 2 starts back over at Keeneland going this 6 furlong distance. A little bit wary about that race because I think there were 2 late scratches in the paddock there that whittled the field down. And then Aunt Becca was able to kind of get to an easy lead and sprint on home. She earned a strong buyer in that race. She was in tough without Lasix in her subsequent start. And the layoff makes me think maybe something happened that day.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a tough call in this race, Dan, because the dirt debut, you're right. It's fair to be skeptical of it. Maybe it was all circumstances that led to that performance. I thought she looked really good winning that day, though, and it came back with a really solid figure as well. I don't know what to make of the Jersey girl. She was terrible in there. Her and the big favorite in that race was that Pletcher horse, the good 2-year-old Chocolate Gelato.
Right.
She was a total no-show. They finished last and next to last, and 3 long shots filled it out. I don't know what to make of that race, but I do know this. I think if she runs as well as she did 2-back, this is a great spot for her.
Lover Girl is the number 5, coming off a win first time Lasix at Canterbury. She was cutting back in distance in this allowance event, and Lover Girl showed good tactical speed. She stayed close to the leader, and she shows some gumption in the stretch to get past this pace setter and go on to a 1.5 length victory. 62 Beyer speed figure, career best. I think she has a little bit of upside potential, but she's going to have to show it against this much tougher group.
Yeah, just going to have to take a big step forward in this race. Based on figures, she's not really competitive right now. I did like that win last time, though, Dan. I like the way that she finished it up. The cutback in distance really seemed to help her.
Moment to Shine comes off a gate-to-wire score. She has now won 2 in a row, both starts with Lasix. This is Moment to Shine returning to dirt off of a little bit of a layoff at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. It's a 2-life allowance race, and she was able to control a pretty solid pace. They went 22-1 for the opening quarter. They can't get to her.
Yeah, she's just going to stay clear in here. It makes me wonder what kind of field she's actually beating in this race, Dan. But she's never threatened. It's another step in the right direction. 2-back on turf. She did it without the lead. I wonder if she can do that this time. I don't see her making the front against this field.
Little Prankster, never off the board from 5 lifetime starts, is our heavy morning line favorite. Here's her win, her 2nd in a row at Saratoga. First level allowance that Mike was talking about. She got to the lead. This track was speed favoring, and she's just going to be able to hold off the runner-up.
Yeah, she's just going to hold off the runner-up here. That's a David Jacobson horse who, to be honest, had run a bunch of times before this, had never run a fast race in her life. All of a sudden, she makes it close here with an 87 Beyer. She comes back in her next start at Aqueduct and reverts to the those 70s that she was running and finished 4th again. I don't know, man. I didn't really like that field all that much. I feel like this horse took advantage to win that race. I felt similarly about her race 2 starts back where she got the other figure. Maybe this is just the right spot, Dan. Even money, not interested.
Black Forest was an open lengths winner at Hawthorne, 2 starts back with a solid 80 Beyer speed figure. They tried her against stakes competition without Lasix last time out at Ellis. I just think she got cooked on a very fast pace that day against horses that were too good for her. Now, while she is dropping back into an allowance, it's a pretty tough allowance, and it's also filled with other speed. So she's going to need to perhaps overcome a bit of a bad pace setup.
Yeah, I thought a lot working against her in this race as well. And I say that not wanting to be too hard on her for the last race because I didn't think that was a terrible performance, although ultimately she was 8th in there. Boy, 2 starts back, though. That big win, 2-back. She just had all the best of it that day with Wilma Mankiller just getting a terrible trip in there.
Philly Crystal is going to complete this field. This horse was a pace-pressing debut winner with slow time at Churchill Downs against Restricted Maidens. Now draws outside the other speeds. There's a chance she could get out sprinted here against some tougher competition. She really has to improve, although she was very gritty in that debut.
Yeah, very game to get the job done there. It's just not a race that I was particularly taken with, either as far as figures go or visually either. I mean, she worked hard to get it done, and she did get it done, but I wasn't thrilled with that race.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time, Thursday race of the day. We are in agreement on Becca, coming off a little bit of a layoff, course and distance winner, 2 starts back. It'll be interesting to see if she can rate, because I think that's going to be key for her in this race, Mike. I'm just not sure she's fast enough to get to the front.
Yeah, I'm not sure she is either. We'll see if she can just bounce back. I want to give her the chance to bounce back, Dad, mostly because I don't really like anybody else in here, but also because I really did think she ran well winning on this track 2-back.
Mike's against the morning line favorite, 4-2-1-3. I picked her second, 4-7-1-8. It's race number 8 at Keeneland, your DRF race of the day for Thursday. Good luck.